Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy healthy start to this nice Wednesday. I think it's a Wednesday. It might be a Wednesday. I'm not sure. I didn't get much sleep last night because I've been shitting my brains out after having a non-good meal here. The first one in not Cyprus but Greece. Anyways, with that said, what was once a beautiful trip now turned into disaster. But the show must go on anyways, and there is plenty to discuss today as we follow up on the short-term time frame analysis as Bitcoin over the past 2 days plays out essentially a nice little trap move, kind of referencing yesterday's title. So with that in mind, let's just jump into it right now, make this one nice and easy, and start off right on over here on the 6-hour time frame. So first and foremost, I wanted to follow up actually on the last couple of days, where basically first we saw a nice breakout to the upside. That was the move back above 19.6 with targeted regions towards 20,500. Looks like we just barely, nope, we did not get there yesterday. We got 20,400, so Krown's wrong, kill him, and fair enough. And then of course yesterday we did say that, hey, there is a trap potential setup below 19,700. Anything below there, very likely Bitcoin coming back down exactly to where this rally started from, and happened rather quickly right there. I didn't necessarily expect that sort of speed, but in this case, that brings us to where we're at right now. So yesterday's analysis was based off of the 6-hour BBWP expanding. What I want to go into now is that it is continuing to expand alongside short-term time frame momentum oscillators actually moving in the downside direction now, as the pivots have been hit to the downside. In this case, 6-hour time frame going to be showing downside pressure below $20,000 as long as closing below there. 4-hour time frame going to be showing downside pressure below 20,200. 3 hours going to be showing downside pressure below the loading screen, no, 19,250, so getting a little bit closer to price action. And hourly is going to be up, I believe, and showing some flippy floppy action with 18,530 showing short-term upside momentum. Anyways, with that in mind, going back on to the lower term time frame range over here, I wanted to put on my drawing tools, and as we can see, the bottom end of this range, now this is, by the way, very specifically on CME, is 18,000, let me just reference my notes, 18,085. That's 18,085. So whenever an asset gets into like a tightening range like this, kind of spent a lot of time around there on the lows, you know, we're talking about the summer lows basically, I personally do get a little bit squeamish with immediately calling for breakdown, because a lot of the time what you will get is you'll get something like this where it'll spike into there again, maybe even a little bit lower, but without actually closing below that current low. You know, the more that it goes sideways, the more and more likely that it will be to actually try another bounce from these regions. Again, bounce not the same thing as reversal, but you know, patience is going to be required here, obviously. So in this case, what I'd like to do now is I'd actually like to go back into the short-term time frames. Let's go to the hourly. And yeah, you know, could Bitcoin spike? Whoops, just drawing shit out. Could Bitcoin spike into these regions? Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely possible. But I would not be calling any sort of a major breakdown, and we'll get into targets again, or for the millionth time perhaps, without any sort of a daily closure, specifically below that 18,085 low on CME. If that does happen, then yes, we're talking about massively new lows in this case. But for right now, I would be cognizant of something like that going on. The reason why I say that is because daily BBWP is downtrending right here. So whenever I see that, it's kind of hard to be looking for like a major massive move unless we get like a just clean move up like that, you know, within this week, basically before end of month would kind of be the play there. So again, kind of the longer that Bitcoin stays sideways here with actually breaking below that region, the more and more likely we're probably going to see another bounce. But again, bounce not the same thing as reversal, and if we are going to see further downside, it very likely happens, you know, probably end of before the last day of September, or maybe like just the first few days of October in this case. So other than that, I wanted to also reference the daily stochastic momentum, which is going to be showing upside, or it will cross the upside above 18,875. Obviously price action's, you know, about $100 below that, or $150 below that right now. That's obviously a fucking sneeze before end of day here, but you know, just another number to be careful of or cognizant of as we move through the day. Now the big focus of the analysis has always been, for the past seems like a month and a half now, has been the 5-day charts over here. The 5-day chart over here is a major signal that we've been following up on for, like I said, about 40 days now, and just had another closure last night. So let's first and foremost go over this. I know that it's fucking boring for the people who've been here for a while, but for the new people, or if you are new, if you're just unsure, I do think that repetition does rather help, or at least for myself. And in this case, it is a volatility represented by BBWP, which is this indicator right here, versus stochastic momentum signature. Volatility in this case, anytime getting down towards the 15 percentile marker or lower, the expansion phases from these extreme lows, of which we've seen many of them in the past 4 to 5 years, has led to an average move about 42.35% done over the course of just about 37 days. And first standard deviation, which represents we expect about 68% of the results to fall between, would be between 35%, basically 35%, all the way up to 49.5% or so. So here's the thing. We got another closure yesterday, and the stochastic oscillator maintains downside pressure. So the pivot was failed yet again, which does imply that the probabilities of downside continuation are higher than not right now, as long as these closures are maintained. So in the next 5-day period, which basically brings us, as I look at the date, into the end of the month, basically beginning of October, as long as Bitcoin is below there, well, probabilities do remain to the downside. Risk does remain to the downside, and as we saw yesterday, even though Bitcoin was about $1,000 above it, well, a nice little sneeze, and she's back down below yet again. So very, very important for confirmations in this case. Anyways, as of right now, the reason why I'm bringing this up again because we got another closure, and so from the actual signal given to where we're at right now, we're going to be working on the next 40 to 45 day period. If you recall, the average days taken for this signature has been about 37 days. So is 40 to 45 days reasonable? Yeah, we've seen several of these in the past. You can see a couple of them on the board right here. Boom, boom, and I think another few down as well. So it's certainly not out of the question, but we are starting to look at this, or even a 50-day one over here, but we are starting to look at this signature as extremely mature. So when it is extremely mature, that is also, I'm kind of saying, I'm a little bit on edge. I really want to see that next technical breakdown below this level over here, below 18,085. If we can get something like that, then I'd really start to look for these stats to start to play out. In this case, we've already seen a pretty significant move, actually, about 27-ish%. If we were to go all the way for the bottom side of like the lower end of the first standard deviation, that would put Bitcoin basically around like, sorry, let me actually do this properly. Let me actually get my damn drawing tools out here instead of fucking around. And 35% puts you about $16,000. The average, which is 42%, puts you at about 14.5, and the higher end of the first standard deviation puts you like all the way down towards 12,000-ish. So those kind of the areas of interest that I'd be having if we were to see that technical breakdown, again, very specifically with a daily closure, maybe probably a 12-hour gets it as well. Could a 4-hour do it? When we're looking at a big move like this, I'd really like to see a higher term time frame, to be fair. But hey, to each their own, obviously. But a breakdown below there, and then I would be looking for such things. Until then, though, could it be that short term we get something like this, like I was kind of postulating earlier? Let me just get rid of this. Boom. And do blah, 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 and then try another bounce. Yeah, certainly possible. And it's going to be the same pivot that we did see from yesterday's video. And actually, I was going to say the day prior, but no, this was just yesterday's video, which sits right here, 19,700. Any sort of a closure above there. And then, yes, I would be looking for Bitcoin to put in a nice rally back up, probably towards that 20,500 to maybe even $21,000 region. Until then, though, short term, probably a bit of range, probably a little bit of sideways, and be cognizant of these major numbers coming into this monthly closure. Like I said, if there is going to be continuation to new lows, I do think that it happens sooner rather than later. The longer that Bitcoin kind of diddly-daddlies here, as I fuck up my drawing yet again, the more and more likely it is to try another bounce, kind of similar to yesterday. All right, sweet. So that's going to do it for right now. I want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.